Second day of a brand new week of a brand new year, and we've got Brian Hadad, the co-host of Sports Talk Mississippi, joining us now. Brian, you had to like what you saw yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good start to the Zach Arnett era at Mississippi State. So obviously offensively some issues yesterday, but that's kind of to be expected when your play caller is gone. You're missing your top running back. You're missing your top receiver. So they had to grind it out. But defensively, they were fantastic. Special teams were good. And they got the win, and they finished with 9 wins, and that'll cap a good season here in Starkville.
No doubt. One of, is it true, 10 9-win seasons for Mississippi State in their history? I saw that.
It's 9 or 10, something like that, yeah. Something like that. 5 in the last 12 years. So.
Really a successful year without question. And we should also point out, Illinois is pretty good. They very physical.
One of the top defenses in the country. Yeah, one of the top defenses in the country all season long. Missing some guys due to opt-outs, but they still played really, really well. Their defensive line is very good. They did a good job of trying to keep things mixed up for Will Rogers, and they did a good job of confusing him. State's running game and some big plays there here and there really made the difference. And
that's really what was a bit of a surprise to me, is that it was, I think, the calling of running plays at what seemed to be the precisely right time when the defense really wasn't set for that, I thought was brilliant, honestly, on Mississippi State's part. And you could argue that that's what contributed greatly to their win.
Yeah, the touchdown drive and then the final drive for the field goal. The play calling was really good, and they did a good job of integrating the running game. That's been State's all year. When they've run the ball successfully, they've been successful. They ran the ball well against Arkansas, A&M, and Ole Miss. Yeah. Well, guess what? That's 3 of your SEC wins this year.
Yeah.
So, yes, all season long when State ran the ball, they were good. Yeah. When they didn't, they struggled.
Yeah. Well, they surely figured it out, and I think the timing of the calls were obviously right on the money, because it seemed to catch the Illinois defense on their heels and really didn't have an answer to it. And most of that did occur late in the second half. In the first half, that didn't seem to be the case, and Mississippi State was struggling and appeared to be confusing Will Rogers a little bit. Illinois' defense was.
I thought that you can tell that there were some halftime adjustments made offensively, because Rogers was also much better in the second. He really struggled in the first half, threw those 2 interceptions. One was a deflected pass, but the second pass where he threw the jump ball, that's just a bad throw, and he knows it.
Yeah.
But then in the second half, I thought he was much more efficient and judicious with the ball, and it helped that the running game came along with him.
Yeah, no doubt. The tributes to the late Coach Mike Leach were touching, heartwarming, incredible. I don't know that I could come up with more adjectives to describe it, but you had to like what you saw, and I think it showcased, in my view, the best of Mississippi as well.
Well, I mean, you go back to the memorial service they held here on the Mississippi State campus, and so many coaches coming in and speaking. I thought that was a really well done ceremony by Mississippi State. To put that together so quickly was really good, and for the coaches to show up, almost all of them in bowl prep. A guy like Sonny Dykes, he's preparing for the national championship.
Yeah.
And then, and of course all those guys are recruiting. Recruiting signing day was just a day away. For them all to come in really spoke of their respect for Mike Leach. And then I thought the conference did a nice job of organizing all of the teams and bowl games to do tributes. And then you had guys like Dana Holgerson, Eli Drinkwitz, the coaches, who just did their own tribute to Mike Leach. So you really saw the wide reach that man had in this sport that we all love so much.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was a bit of a storybook finish, honestly, if you think about it, going out in style, winning the big bowl game, finishing with a 9-win season, doing it in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stadium with the pirate ship atop the stadium there. All just really cool. Lots of symbology, I guess, that I think showed that the coach was certainly there in spirit, without question. And you saw the post-game interview I thought was excellent with Will Rogers. He was getting a little choked up, as you could expect. He had a very strong relationship with the coach. So just a fitting end to the season.
Yeah, and I think now everybody can take a breath. It's been a tough process. It's tough to grieve when you have when you have work to do.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you can take time off and just let yourself heal. But these coaches and these players have been preparing for this bowl game. Coaches have been dealing with recruiting and everything else. Now they can take that breath and just, really get themselves, right. And they've got a couple of months to not have to there's still recruiting going on, obviously, and there's still coaches to hire here in Starkville. But the pressure of that counting down to that bowl game is gone now, and you can just step back and try to get yourself, as whole as you can.
Yeah, no doubt. And the inclusion of the flag with the skull and crossbones logo on the helmet, what a nice touch that was. And, of course, you saw that floated right after the death of the coach as a possibility. I was pretty glad to see that it was adopted and put to use.
I was wondering what they would – I knew they wouldn't do it nothing. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So when you saw that, I was like, that's the right touch, I thought. There were some people talking about State maybe coming out in like a black and white uniform, and I just thought that's a little too much. State is maroon and white, but that logo was the perfect tribute, I thought. And on top of it, you had Mike's name on the field. You had the picture of Mike in the pirate ship, which is just fantastic. He would have loved that. And what the thing he would have loved the most, of course, is that his team got the win.
No doubt. Now, strictly from a statistical perspective, he comes up just a tad short, right, for entry into the Hall of Fame. Is that right? But
that is correct.
There's discussion of maybe waiving that in this case. You heard more about that?
There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of movement behind the scenes to waive that requirement. You have to be at 60% winning percentage.
Okay.
All time. He's at 59.6. I think the easiest solution to this is to say, look, this was Mike Leach's team that won this game yesterday. Just give him that win, and that puts him over the top.
Oh,
something like that.
Makes sense.
It just makes sense, right? That he was still, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
So that's one way to do it. But if you just want to create an exception, that I don't think anybody's going to raise a stink about that. Mike Leach is one of the most influential coaches in college football history. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I think they're going to make it happen.
You may see it have some credibility to keep him out and to just adhere to the standard. Had this happen when he was older and long after his career, I can maybe see that. But when it happened while he was seated as the coach, active as the coach,
right? And
then, as you say, I never really thought about that. I think that's a great idea, Brian. To attribute this win to him. It was his team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the easiest and most painless way to do it. And however they want to do it, if they just want to say, look, he's eligible, we're going to vote him in. No, like you said, in his later years, there might have been some, we're just doing this, because, of who he is. But today, anybody who's going to complain is going to be made to look like a fool.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think he deserves to be in on his resume. He was going to continue to win at Mississippi State. He was going to get over that percentage anyway. So I think that would have been the case.
Well, let's consider this. They're not in the bowl game. Had he not coached them through the season to achieve the wins necessary to get the bowl bid.
Right. Exactly. It's Gerard, you deal with politics all the time. Sometimes there's such an easy fix that people won't do it because it's just too easy.
Of course, too easy. Got to complicate.
Same thing here, right? This is just too easy.
Yeah.
We got to complicate things somehow.
Totally agree. Before you go, your thoughts about the situation last night with Damar Hamlin. Wow.
Never seen anything like that. And I'm glad the NFL made the right decision because at some point you just have to say, look, these are people, and you have to think about it in those terms. I wish it had come quicker. But that being said, obviously that's a horrible, horrible situation, and I certainly wish him a speedy recovery. Hopefully he'll come out of it and find out how generous people have been because he does a toy drive charity that he had a goal of $5,000 for, and right now I think it's sitting around $3 million or something like that.
Exactly,
a lot of generosity. I hope he can wake up soon and see the generosity that he was able to inspire.
Yeah, and we've learned more about him. He was just a good person on top of being an NFL football player. right? So
I love it when they get you with this song on the way out, Gerard. It always makes me laugh.
Rhino's got you, man. All right, Brian, good to see you. I'm sure we'll be talking some more.
Good to see you, buddy.
I hope you have a happy New Year, my friend. Take care.
Happy New Year, Gerard. Happy New Year, Rhino.
We're coming right back in the Element Well Studios.